We've got Oathbreakers in our grubby mitts today, and we're going to give it a damn good flipping. This book, the latest supplement for Oathmark, Battles of the Lost Age, is a full-colour, 82-page softback offering. It's published by Osprey Games, and the quality that we've come to expect from them is very much present here. Oathbreakers' fantastic colour illustrations really boost that ooh factor too. This art, which is certainly finely rendered and certainly spookily themed, should probably clue you into the content in this book. Oathbreakers casts its gaze over the undead, bringing veritable hordes of them to the mass combat fantasy game. The introduction provides more detail on what's ahead, and it's laid out with a black and white art piece, a photo of a sort of in-game plus setup, the units in combat but with far nicer backgrounds and lots of really carefully placed scenery, the sort of thing we never see in a real game, and there's a full-page art piece as well. These elements continue throughout the book, giving it a nice cohesive feel. Undead Armies begins on page 8, and this chapter focuses on the dead. Well, they're not quite dead. There are rules for creating undead kingdoms, or indeed adding the undead to the existing kingdoms, and these take up the first 2 pages. Then it's on to the undead units themselves, and there are quite a few of them. They're tied to the different terrain that makes up your kingdom, so your first choice is should your capital be a necropolis or a cursed burial ground. If you go for necropolis, then say hello to the Revenant King. The king serves as a cursed leader, and a walking dead example of why even royalty shouldn't break oathmarks when they're living. Pages 10 to 13 cover the king, as well as princes, generals and captains, finishing with a really great image of one riding to war in a chariot, and chariots are another new option in Oathbreakers. While we show you other troops, champions, warriors, linebreakers and cavalry, all representing elite-type undead units and options, we will mention that although these are the good-at-hitting folks while looking rather dead type of troops, the rules make it pretty clear that they don't have to be acting on pure evil. A Revenant King and troops may just be out to make amends for the oaths they broke in life, rather than wanting to destroy all around them. We really like that Oathmark doesn't just stick to the boring black and white good versus evil approach here. On page 17 there's more great art, a necromancer raising the dead. This stuff really does add atmosphere and quality to the book, and it also gives us a chance to mention a few things. 1. Author Joseph A. McCulloch's no stranger to getting fine art into games. We flipped through Wizard Eye, The Art of Frostgrave recently, a huge and wonderful art book for his previous game series Frostgrave, and if you haven't had a look at that already, you can check out our video. 2. The art serves to illustrate the undead, where the miniatures and battle scenes do not. Yes, there are Oathmark undead miniatures on the way, but we suspect they weren't ready when this book went to print. That means that all the battle scenes feature non-undead miniatures, which really creates some dissonance. Yes, it's great to see photos of models in combat, but it's kind of strange that there are no undead in battles. A bit of a negative in a mostly visually great book. 3. We should probably mention that author Joe is a friend of the magazine. He sometimes provides us with articles. Now this won't stop us being critical if needed, and we kind of just were, but we thought we should mention it. Anyway, back to the book. Necromancers. An option if your capital is a cursed burial ground. This is where death magic comes in, and their necromancy gives these dubious looking folks the power to raise up shambling hordes of the dead. The level 5 necromancer weighs in at a hefty 400 points, and they can be really skilled at spell slinging, which we'll cover later on because the spells are later in the book. The rules for their hordes follow this art. Various skellies, ghouls, wraiths, the fantastic sounding corpse fires, who are so consumed with hatred, anger and pain that they self-immolate, and in 2020 we can really relate to that. There are also vampires, barrow worms, a lot of options that should make for some really awesome looking armies. But enough of the dead, onwards to living legends. Page 28 is the start of the Legendary Heroes section. This takes Oathmark's powerful characters a step further, shining a light on the absolute best of the best. This pretty much means that in-game you'll be able to bump up your models to another level and they'll gain heroic traits. These are special abilities that will let the models counter the normally restrictive rules in the game. So far, kinda so expected, but reflecting the author's fondness for narrative, you can gain experience by performing heroic deeds throughout battles. These could be staying in play, winning, even just taking part in the fight. And this could mean that you gain extra experience which can be spent on extra heroic traits. Or there's a flip side, you can get killed, captured or wounded, which is obviously less ideal. Joe also adds that though legendary heroes are written to work as an individual system, they can also be used in conjunction with the Battle Honours rules that are in the previous expansion Battlesworn. If you fancy building an Uber Death Star unit, a legendary hero leading from the front rank, in a unit that has Battle Honours making it also really tough, well, as long as you have the points to spare, you can. On page 42, Military Expeditions adds 3 military expansions that can be added to the main Oathmark books campaign system. These have some spooky touches, as you might expect, and they really fit into the Undead theme of the book. Each expansion consists of 3 different scenarios, and with Lockdown 2 hitting in the UK, we've not had a chance to play these, but on paper they look varied and fun. Segueing nicely from our mention of Lockdown 2, pages 62 to 65 of this book show the Strange and Catastrophic Events table. These are used when playing the previous expeditions that we just talked about. The book's final 20 or so pages are an appendix, and it's bursting with new exciting stuff. It covers the new and unique territories that can be added, which all add character to the gaming experience. Next, on page 72, there are some new special abilities. Not too many, but they'll certainly enhance the Undead flavour. And finally, there are new spells. Necromancers can choose from both the general spells list and these new ones, and they have the versatility to pick options that will degrade and damage the enemy, raise skeletons, revive revenants, or they can even summon an aggressive barrow worm to fight. So Necromancers are really truly fierce casters in the game. Oh, and sorry, there is another finally. Tucked in after the credits on page 79 is a legendary hero sheet, and you can copy this, create your own fighters and leaders who'll live on in the songs and hearts of the people. And that's that. Another fine expansion to the world and the game of Oathmark, adding new army options and helping us postpone the post-Halloween blues at least a little bit longer with some spookiness.
This video has been brought to you by WI Prime, Wargames Illustrated Magazine's online members club. View more videos or find out more about WI Prime by following these links.